Hello and welcome to the Exchange Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Dozier. With me as always from QuickChart.com is David Conrad. Say hello, David.
Hello.
And always with us is Daniel Wood.
I'll start off with a quote from a video game like I always do. What is a man but a miserable little pile of secrets? Do you know the game? Probably not.
No, I don't. I can't say that I do.
Nah. Anyway.
Fallout 4.
That's a good guess, actually.
Castlevania.
Which one? The first one?
I don't remember now.
Simon's
By the way,
Quest?
I'm very sick. So,
What else is new?
I'm like working at like 75% of my normal capacity, so we'll just do the best we can with that.
Well, so today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to play a little bit of a game. It's going to involve movies, of course, since that seems to be the only thing that we podcast about these days. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the summer box office, and we're going to try to rank where we think movies, all the movies that are coming out, are going to finish in the top 10. So the way that the game is going to work is we're going to each give our top 10 list, and we're going to get 2 points for being dead on. So let's say Suicide Squad. We say it's going to come in at number 7. If it comes in at number 7, we're going to get 2 points. We'll get 1 point for being within one spot. So, like I said, Suicide Squad, we say it's at 7, it's at 8 or 6, we're going to get a point. And then we're going to get a bonus point for being within $10 million of where we think its actual dollar amount will finish. So without any further ado, why don't we just go ahead and start at number 10. I guess I'll give mine first. And at number 10 on my list, I have Independence Day Resurgence. And I have that at $175 million.
Okay, your number 10 is going to make more money than my number 10.
Okay. That'll be interesting to hear. So what do you think?
Is it the lack of Will Smith that's why this movie isn't going to do so well?
Well, it'll either do much better or much worse because of the lack of Will Smith.
Well,
fair enough.
You know, the original movie did really well. When did that movie come out? Like 1997?
I believe it was 96.
96?
I believe so. Because I believe 97 was Men in Black.
Yeah, that's right. It was a big hit, but it's just been too long, I think. And I think by the time, like, kids these days, you know, they're the ones that are going to the movies during the summer the most, and they don't really know anything about the original Independence Day. So really, the only reason that they would go see this movie is they think it looks cool, which, if you've seen the previews for it, it doesn't look that cool.
Right. You can see the White House blow up in just about any movie these days.
Yeah, exactly. White House down.
Okay, well, I'll explain this. I was watching a commercial. I was watching the Super Bowl, and the original Independence Day did do commercials during the Super Bowl. And it was like the planes fly overhead like they usually do in the Super Bowl, you know, after the national anthem, the F-16s or whatever fly overhead, and then like the alien ships come down and they start attacking, you know, the F-16s or whatever. And I'm like, are we seriously playing the fucking Super Bowl 20 years after the Earth was destroyed? Like, there was like every major city in the world annihilated, and then like hundreds of millions, if not billions, of people killed, and like 20 years later, we're like, all right, we're back to this Super Bowl thing. We don't have running water yet, and there's no infrastructure, but god damn it, we're going to play this Super Bowl.
Hey, it's a way to get people together. Everybody loves the Super Bowl.
It's tradition. It's all the more important to preserve our traditions when they're threatened.
We have to have it in Sioux, Iowa, because every other stadium in America was destroyed. But, you know, anyway, yeah, it looks dumb.
Yeah.
Which I think we all agree.
All right, so David, why don't you go ahead and give us your number 10?
I'm going with Jason Bourne at $120 million.
Oh, wow, that's a low amount.
Yeah.
You think that's going to be the number 10 is 120?
I think that, you know, enough people are going to be interested in a Jason Bourne movie to get it onto the list, but I just don't see it doing that well. And I guess that also says that the things I have just ahead of it, I also don't see as doing that well.
So let me ask you this. When you say 120 million. Are you kind of predicting that this is going to be a down year for box office, or did you just not know what to put?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Okay.
Also, my predictions are not great because I did predict The Martian to win the Oscars, and it didn't. But I predicted it would win Best Picture, and that it would win nothing else, and I was right about the nothing else part. So
maybe you just have a really strong opinion about Matt Damon movies.
maybe that's a good connection.
You must love Matt Damon movies.
Man, the guy is box office gold, I tell you.
Stuck on You was a modern day.
Actually, that actually is a pretty funny movie. I like that one.
And did Elysium do well?
No, it didn't. It didn't do.
It did okay.
I mean, I think it came out in February, so it's one of those kind of movies.
Yeah.
But no, it didn't. It didn't do like big box office numbers. All right, so Daniel, what's your number 10?
My number 10 is Ice Age 12. How are these animals still alive?
They're alive because they're mammals, and mammals did well in the Ice Age because of their fur.
Don't ruin this for me, Conrad. And I have it coming in at a robust 210 million rupees.
Jeez.
So what's that in American dollars?
No, 210 American dollars.
Oh, okay.
I think it's going to be this is going to be a record-breaking summer, and this will be the highest grossing summer of all time.
Really?
Wow.
Not inflation adjusted, mind you.
No.
Just because ticket prices and there's so many, franchise, comic book, yada yada yada. Anyway.
You know what? Actually, I have a something to say about this. It's just it's a weird fact. So, my wife and I, Holly, we do trivia every Tuesday night, and not that long ago, a couple weeks ago, one of the trivia questions was, what year was the highest grossing box office, or what year did the box office first hit $10 billion US? And we correctly assumed that it was the year that Avatar came out.
Oh, was that like 2007?
Okay, so Avatar came out in December of 2007.
Oh, so yeah.
So the year would have been 2008.
So we said 2008 because Avatar made almost all of its money in 2008, right? The answer was 2007.
Huh.
And so I think the way that it works with movies like that, and this has nothing to do with summer box office. We were just talking about
the year it opens gets all the credit.
Yeah, so the year that it opened was the year that they credited the box office money to, and I just thought that was a weird, interesting fact, I guess. So if you ever have a trivia question, if you're ever doing trivia and that's the trivia question, you know the answer now.
Because didn't that movie make like $1 billion?
It made 700, a little bit under 750, I think. Star Wars passed it domestically, but obviously Star Wars hasn't passed it worldwide yet. So.
Huh.
But yeah, domestically it was like 700 something million. So I don't have either of you guys as number 10 on my list at all.
It's the bottom of the list, so that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think Ice Age, the reason I looked at Ice Age and I thought about it because, it's a kids' film in summer and kids, they can, they're out of school so they can go to the movies more often. They can go see multiple times. But I think there's just been too many Ice Ages.
Yeah.
It's little Ice Age, it's just too many of them. So
it's going to the well one too many times.
Yeah. And that's kind of true with a lot of franchises like that, where the first one will do pretty well, but it's kind of establishing its audience. Then the second one usually does the best because it's got the audience established and they're going to go see it. And then the third one, people are just getting tired of it.
I mean, I don't remember when the first Ice Age came out, but I imagine those kids are in college right now.
Yeah, I mean, the first Ice Age probably came out. We were either seniors in high school or very early in our college years, I think. Very early 2000s is when it came out.
Well, rather than dwell on how old we are, I suggest we move along to our number nines.
Okay, so David, why don't you give us your number 9 first, and then we'll just kind of cycle through here.
This is where I've got Independence Day Resurgence. I don't really know why. I wouldn't be surprised to see it be a total bomb and that nobody will go see it, because why would you? But I've got it at 130 million.
Okay, so a little bit less than what I have it at. All right, so Daniel, what's your number 9?
My number 9 is Jason Bourne 5.
Okay.
Matt Damon comes back. $220 million.
Wow.
That's exactly $100 million more than I give it.
It looks like I'm going to have to see this movie a lot.
See, and the reason I didn't have this movie on my list is, again, like Ice Age, it's fatigue.
Yep.
People just don't want to see these movies. Although I think it will do better than 4 did, just because Matt Damon.
Because of Matt Damon.
Yeah, nobody wants to see Hawkeye.
But look, I know that the Mission Impossible movies are better than this. They're flashier. They've got more buzz about them. But people still go to see those, even though there's been like 5 or whatever of them.
That's true, but these definitely do worse at the box office than Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
What is that sound?
Hey, that is my new grandfather clock.
Oh, okay.
I hope you can hear that on the podcast and not just over the mic.
I heard it, so then they heard it.
I heard it as well. That's very appropriate that Conrad has a grandfather clock.
Okay, well in 15 minutes we'll get it again, so set your watches.
That thing goes off every 15 minutes?
Yeah, like Big Ben.
See, I don't have a watch because I'm not 500 years old.
They're coming back, though. Everything comes back.
That thing should only go off every hour at the most. That would just become annoying every 15 minutes, just hearing.
Anywho, did we get?
Yeah, we're going off track here. I got my number 9 here.
Number 9, okay.
Okay, so my number 9, I have Alice Through the Looking Glass at $200 million, and okay,
Jeez.
so I have well, the reason I have this at $200 million is because the first Alice movie, Alice in Wonderland, who was directed by Tim Burton, if you don't know. It made over $300 million.
Wow. Well, and I did go to see it, but I think that me and a lot of other people are not going to make that mistake again.
Well, this is $100 million less, so in fact, it's more than $100 million less. But this movie is being directed by James Bobbin, who did the 2 Muppet films. He also is the co-creator of the great HBO series Flight of the Conchords. So I don't know I never saw the first ones because I'm not a big Tim Burton fan, so I don't know about the quality of the movie, but I still think people are going to go see it. At least.
Well, I'll say this: I think that first movie did well back when Tim Burton, and Johnny Depp still had this box office allure.
Yeah.
And that's gone. And I don't think this movie. I think this movie's gonna bomb.
I don't know. You still have people that will go see Johnny Depp films. As we were talking before we started,
I don't think that's true anymore.
Well, I must say I've seen more advertising for it than I have for like Independence Day or Jason Bourne, so that probably says something.
I didn't even know this movie existed.
Yeah, I think it depends. It just kind of depends. They're doing, I think, the targeted marketing. They're probably not targeting things that you're watching, like sporting events and stuff like that.
Fair enough.
Okay, so we'll move on to number 8, and I'll just go ahead Daniel, you give us your number 8 first.
My number 8, and this might be a little surprising, Star Trek.
Star Trek Bed, Bath & Beyond?
God, the movie looks so bad. I have it at $240 million, which I think would be a huge disappointment.
Okay, I'll go ahead and jump in here because I also have Star Trek at my number 8, and I have it at $210 million. So...
Great minds together. That would be a huge disappointment for that movie franchise, I would imagine.
I mean, look at what the last one did, and look how much people hate that one. They did bring in a new director, Justin Lin, who is the director of a lot of those Fast and the Furious movies, which people love, and they say they're getting better. So I don't know. It does look like he's trying to bring a Fast and Furious kind of aesthetic to the Star Trek universe, but I don't know that a lot of you purists out there are probably not going to want to see this.
So, you know what? I watched a Star Trek movie where Captain Picard rode a futuristic dune buggy. So Captain Kirk riding a motorcycle is just kind of par for the course. These Star Trek movies, I guess.
Didn't they use? I know in a lot of the trailers they're using that Beastie Boys song "Sabotage."
Yes,
Didn't
that
they
was
use
it.
that in the first movie also. Of this?
Yes, there's a scene where young Captain Kirk is driving. He stole his stepfather's convertible.
So they're
And
literally
driving off with
using
it.
the same exact music from a movie that was just 2 movies ago.
I guess they want you to forget about the second one.
They want you to remember the first one. Hey,
Yeah.
the first one was good. Remember that one.
But Simon Pegg keeps promising it's not as bad as it looks. It's not as bad as it looks.
That's not really a comforting thing for someone to say that's in the movie.
Wah, wah. Okay, so me and Brian have the same number 8. What about comics?
I, at number 8, have Suicide Squad. I'm in a movie group full of nerds who go see comic book movies, and all of them are pretty down about Suicide Squad. They're not really excited about it, and therefore I don't think the word of mouth is going to spread beyond the diehards, and I think it's going to do $150 million.
Wow, 150 million. Okay,
Yep,
your numbers are low.
they're low.
This is the summer that movies died, apparently.
Yeah, this is like 1998 box office numbers apparently.
Okay, so
I also have Suicide Squad on my list, but it's a little bit further up. Okay, so I'll go ahead and give out my number 7. At number 7, I have The Jungle Book, and I've got that at $210 million. Also, it's just the same amount that I have as Beyond, but I kind of I think Jungle Book's gonna finish just a tad above Star Trek Beyond.
Well, I'll do mine because we've just been talking about it. My number 7 is Star Trek Beyond at $170 million.
I'll put the nail in the coffin on that franchise.
Yes, it would.
I can only hope.
My number 7 at $260 million is Suicide Squad. And I will say this, I do like the cast. I do like the cast of Suicide Squad. I do like Margaret Robbie and Jared Leto and Will Smith. And the movie might be terrible, it might be great, but that's a movie that is totally going to get its box office based on its merit of how good the movie is because it's such an unknown comic book property.
Suicide Squad, you mean?
Yes.
I guess that kind of jives with what I'm saying about it's going to need good word of mouth to do really well.
Yeah, it's going to have to actually be a good movie. It's not.
I don't think it's going to get it. I don't think it's going to get it. Yeah.
See, and I think that there's going to be. I mean, Daniel, you have it at 260 million. Like I said, I have it on my list. I actually have it further up on my list, but at a lower number than you do. And I think I don't know. I think people are going to go see this movie just because they want to see the new Joker more than anything. Even though I think he's probably just a bit part in the movie, but
and Harley Quinn. I think people really like Harley Quinn. And I think
there is a
really
very large fan base for Harley Quinn. I don't know that it's large enough in the general public that it's gonna really move the needle that much. But I think the Joker is definitely gonna move the needle.
But it's got to be a good movie. It can't just be, oh, this is Batman, so you have to go see it because it's Batman. Like it's gonna have to be a legitimately good movie.
Yeah, I think so.
And
what I've seen, I don't know that it's going to be a bad movie. It doesn't look like it's going to be a bad movie, to me.
I can't tell.
I think the intrigue is the villain thing, though. Like you've never seen a movie where the villains are the main characters. I mean, obviously they're not doing villain things. They're being heroic, but
maybe we've never seen a comic book movie like that, but we've seen lots of like actual prestige dramas like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting dynamic that we haven't seen yet with these comic book movies, and I don't know. I don't think it's rated R, but it's probably going to be a hard PG-13. So
they're all going to try to be Deadpool.
A product like Suicide Squad, that's probably an R rating is probably the right thing to do.
That's true.
With some of the other comic book films, it's not the right thing to do.
Yeah, I mean the thing about Deadpool is that it had to be R rated.
Right.
To do Deadpool, and so it's just a matter of are you going to see people try to make comic book characters that shouldn't have R-rated movies?
Well, they're doing the new Wolverine movie is going to be rated R, which
I mean that works.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. It'll be nice, I guess, that when he actually sticks his claws into somebody, there will be blood, opposed to
You know, like if
where
they ever
it
did,
was just like fantasy.
if they ever did a Lobo movie, you know, that'd be rated R, to bust out a very obscure comic book character.
Yeah,
Um,
they could
but
do
you know,
another Spawn. Spawn could do another rated R movie. I think the
yeah.
original Spawn was rated R, wasn't it?
That sounds right to me. I think it was like the first comic book movie to be rated R.
It was
Yeah,
so campy though. I can't
yeah, it was
imagine it
very
wasn't rated
campy.
R. He
All
was
right,
the
well,
villain of the villain in the original Spawn.
it's like a clown.
Well, John Leguizamo was the clown, yes, but the villain was President Bartlett himself, Martin Sheen.
Oh yeah, he was the human villain.
Apparently,
Uh,
there was an R cut of the original Spawn and a PG-13 cut, which is the
Oh,
same
okay.
thing they're going to be doing with Batman
Suicide
versus
Squad.
Superman. Well, and
Yeah,
Batman
Batman
versus
vs
Superman.
Superman.
So
Okay. I think the Batman versus Superman R cut is only going to be home release though. It's not
only
going to
home
be
release.
theatrical.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we should probably move up our lists.
Yes. Daniel, are you 6? Or David? Let's go, David. David, give me your 6.
I think this is where Ghostbusters shows up with a respectable 190 million. I don't know if that's low or high for a Melissa McCarthy movie, to be honest. I don't remember what her other ones did. I think that it's going to be hampered somewhat by a large portion of the online fan base already deciding that it looks terrible. But I do think that since it is Ghostbusters and it's been, and a lot of people actually really do like Melissa McCarthy, it'll do respectably well. I mean, the positive and negative will balance out at about 190 million.
I also have Ghostbusters at 6. I have it at 235 million. We talked about this a little bit with my movie rankings. Melissa McCarthy, I'm not a big fan of hers, but Spy, I did like that movie. So she is coming off of a decent film. She's being reunited with Kristen Wiig from Bridesmaids, which was a big hit. There's the fan base, the built-in fan base, the built-in Ghostbusters fan base, which is going to go see this just so they can get another Ghostbusters film with that they might actually like. I think they're actually they may say it looks terrible, but I think they're still going to go see it because they want the movie studios to still make these movies.
They're going to game the system.
Exactly. It is true. If you want your franchise, your beloved franchise that you absolutely love, if you want them to keep making movies, you have to go see the bad movies too.
Yeah. That's why I go see every James Bond movie.
Yeah, and like I said, I think this movie's gonna tank hard. I think it'll make like 180 million.
Yeah, I don't know.
But does that mean that
180 million is actually less than is only 10 million less than what David is saying it will make?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't even make my top 10.
Which, yeah. Okay, so go ahead,
anyway,
Daniel.
My number 6 is Independence Day at $290 million. I think it's going to make a shit ton of money.
Really?
For all the reasons, I mean,
but it looks so
so
terrible.
Ghostbusters, like whatever. Like people are gonna go see it because it's aliens and explosions.
I don't think so though. I don't think there's a built-in fan base for Independence Day like there is for Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters was a huge franchise that they made 2 movies. They've made cartoons. They've made video games. People love that franchise. There is no franchise for Independence Day. There's one movie. That's it.
Fair enough.
Is Jeff Goldblum in this one?
He is, yes.
That's good. That's good. The Wes Anderson people like him.
And Emil
Hirsch.
Emil Hirsch, yes. And I mean, if there's not a bigger box office draw than Emil Hirsch, then then come on.
Like I don't even know who the younger people that they have. Like I don't know who these people are that they're putting in this. So they're not bankable stars,
Yeah, I don't care about that.
Well, I mean that's a big thing,
I don't think it's as big a thing as it used to be.
I think it is.
I think if a movie sucks, then it's more like Johnny Depp. People went to see Johnny Depp movies because Johnny Depp was in them, and then you kept making bad one after bad one after bad one, and then just like, screw it. I'm not seeing Johnny Depp movies anymore.
Right, but you're saying this movie is going to make $290 million, so I don't know that it's got the bankable stars to make $290 million. That's just my opinion, though.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, so let's move on to number 5. Daniel, move on. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at $340 million.
Jeez.
I thought for a half a second about putting that on my list, and then I thought it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the year is 2016. I am not putting that on my list.
Yeah, it didn't make my list either. I think it's going to be a huge, huge bomb, and I think it's going to be a huge, huge bomb because the first one was kind of a bomb. It didn't do well.
But the weird thing is, I will say the weird thing in defense of this movie is that you do see little kids all the time with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stuff.
Yeah, I see it all the time. In the
Oh,
games,
Well, yeah.
the
I
video
think
games,
that's-
and the cartoons and everything. Like the cartoons
Yeah.
are on TV constantly, and the video games are still being made and selling out. And
So, and I don't know where that comes from. I don't know how those kids find out about it. What are they really talking about it?
they have been making cartoons.
Yeah, they still make
forever.
cartoons.
They have been for.
And so do the kids play it on the school ground and say, I'm going to be Raphael, I'm going to be Raphael?
Well,
Like
none of
used
us.
to?
I don't think Daniel and I are really hanging around school grounds, but probably.
Daniel might be.
Womp womp womp.
But no, so I said this about Ghostbusters, where it's that built-in fan base for a franchise people love.
Okay, so
I agree.
why is it not on your list?
So I agree there is a built-in fan base that people love this movie. But there's already been a movie that people didn't really go see that much. So that's why I think this movie's not going to do as well. Ghostbusters, it's a different case where this is the test run for, seeing if people will go see these movies again. And I just don't think I don't know. It just looks so bad, and people have the same complaints about this movie, the trailers for this movie, that they had about the first movie. So it's like, if they have those same complaints, maybe it's just, I don't know. I just don't think people are going to go see it. I could be wrong.
Come on, Scott, Bebop and Rocksteady.
I mean, that is cool. But there's no way that they can make them look cool on screen and not look like terrible CGI effects. I don't think they can do that very well.
Fair enough.
Okay. David,
yeah.
What's your 5?
My 5 is The Jungle Book. I kind of felt like I was going out on a limb by even including it on my list at all, but then you had it on your list, Brian, so I feel a little better about it. I'm going to see it. I love every version of The Jungle Book. But my favorite version, in fact, is the live-action one from 1994. I don't know if very many people remember that, but Lena Headey from Game of Thrones was in that. John Cleese was in that. Sam Neill was in it. Carrie Elwes was in it, or Carrie Ewells, however you say it. Great cast, great movie, in my opinion. But anyway, I'll see it. I'm hoping it does well. I just popped it in at number 5 at $200 million.
200. Well, that's actually only $10 million less than what I said it would be.
Yeah, we're agreeing on the values roughly.
This is maybe a bias of mine. I've never seen any Jungle Book movies ever.
Really? Not even the animated Disney
ones? No.
Oh,
Well, we
man,
know
that was-
how anti-Disney I am.
Oh, we didn't know that, or I didn't know that. But,
I thought that was I don't like Disney.
yeah.
I thought we knew
But
we all knew
that one is widely and wrongly considered to be the last movie of Disney's original Golden Age.
Wait, didn't that movie come out before like Aladdin and?
Oh yeah. That's the second Golden Age. Aladdin is second
Okay.
Golden Age. The original Golden Age is back in when Walt was alive, and
Okay.
The Jungle Book was the last movie released while Walt was alive, and then the next best movie that came out after it was Robin Hood, which actually just stole
Yeah, I
all
like
of
that.
the. I love Robin Hood, but admittedly it did steal all the animation from the Jungle Book, as well as the character design of Baloo became Little John and used the same voice actor. So it was considered kind of just a copy and it didn't count. But that's where I would end the first Disney Golden Age. That's neither here nor there. Different podcast.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll go ahead and move on to my number 5. At 5, I have Suicide Squad at $255 million. So
That's
only $5
$100. Yeah, it's $100 million more than I give it.
Yeah, and only $5 million less than what Daniel says. So there's some bonus points here that we're probably going to be sharing. Daniel and I are going to be sharing, but we probably won't be sharing the same points for being dead on or a point away with our spots here. But all right, so we'll move on since we've already talked about that movie. We'll move on to number 4, and I will go ahead and just give mine. At number 4, I have X-Men Apocalypse at $270 million. I have this at $270 million because, once again, you're getting a franchise here that's getting a little old in the tooth. Long in the tooth. That's what the saying is. And the last movie did sort of revitalize the franchise a little bit, but I still think you're still going to see a little bit of a drop off.
The first X-Men without Wolverine.
I thought he was going to be in this movie.
First class had. Oh, is he?
Yeah, I think he's going to be in this one. I think this is his last main X-Men movie.
Well, then never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I think. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I thought he was going to be in this movie.
I thought that the last one was. I mean, obviously he only had that cameo in First Class, but
yeah.
Okay. Conrad.
Number 4, Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Wow.
It's now that I've blown your mind with my placement. Let's see if I blow your mind with my amount. I've got it at $250 million.
Oh God.
I think a Warner Brothers executive just died somewhere.
Yes.
After hearing that. Oh my goodness.
I think that a lot of people still think that this is a dumb idea.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could possibly think it's a dumb idea.
Because I don't know. I mean, I'm in a movie group online, like I said, that does have a lot of nerds in it, a lot of comic book people, and a lot of them are still not really sold on this.
At $250 million, that would be the end of both the Batman and Superman franchise. They would not be making any more of these movies.
Okay, so I successfully blown your mind twice.
They would cancel the whatever Ben Affleck movie. They would cancel the Justice League movie, but Ben Affleck would not be making any Batman movies. It would be over at that amount of money.
All right, I'm probably wrong.
God, I hope so. My number 4 was X-Men Apocalypse as well. At oh God, what are my numbers now? I've got them all scribbled and mixed up. 370 million. Wow, that's really high.
Wow. You are getting very high on these numbers. You're really high, and I think David's really low.
I think I got my numbers high up there a little too quick. But anyway, I think it's gonna get, people like the idea of Olivia Munn as Psylocke. People like the villain Apocalypse, even though he looks like the Great Monster Man or whatever. He
does look like Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers movie.
He looks like purple Kool-Aid guy. I mean, I do kind of like how a lot of the costumes, a lot of the X-Men costumes, are starting to look more like the costumes that they were in the heyday of the X-Men comics in the 80s and 90s. That would be the Jim Lee design costumes.
Yes, that was one thing about the original X-Men movies that Bryan Singer did that I was always really disappointed about. And that it seemed like the reasoning was it was too comic booky. I'm like, well, it's a comic book movie.
I mean, it's a give and take. I mean, there's a fear that you can look like you're all dressed up for Halloween.
Yeah, I mean,
so I think to strike a balance.
I do think they're doing a good job from what I've seen so far. I mean, Psylocke looks on point. She looks exactly like she does in the comic book.
Yeah, but that's sort of like she's a ninja, and she just has like she's a really hot ninja, so she has a really skimpy hot ninja outfit. I'm like, they probably would have come up with that outfit anyway, even if that wasn't the outfit.
Yeah, that's probably true. Okay, so I gave my 4 already. So why don't we move on to our number 3s? Daniel, what's your number 3?
Finding Dory. Pushing $380 million.
You said 380?
Yes.
I've got Finding Dory as well at 260.
Okay, I also have Finding Dory at 3. So,
well,
this will be a wash if we.
Yeah.
And what'd you say yours is at 260?
Yep.
260.
By the way, Finding Nemo is probably my least favorite Pixar movie that I've seen. I've never seen the Cars movies or the whatever.
Cars. I never saw the second Cars, but the first Cars was so bad I didn't even bother. That's why I didn't bother with the second one.
I never saw the first.
And that's kind of what I'm thinking is that I'm thinking that Pixar sequels don't do all that well.
Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3
Yeah,
would,
no,
would
yes,
disagree with you there.
there are exceptions, and actually, Cars probably actually did perform extremely well financially, but
I mean, there aren't a ton of sequels to Pixar movies.
They had a Monsters Inc.
Monsters
prequel.
That one did
University.
not do as well. Yes.
Right.
That was a prequel though, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never gave my amount. I got it at 330 million as my number 3.
Roger that.
All right. Well, anything else to say about Finding Dory at all, or Pixar in general?
Well, it's going to win Best Animated Picture at the next Oscars because
That's a given.
always wins.
See, and like my favorite Pixar movie, The Incredibles, they have yet to make a sequel of.
I believe they are making a sequel. I've heard. I think
Well,
I've read somewhere.
Craig
they're
T.
making a
Nelson's
sequel.
not going to be alive forever, you know.
Well, I don't know. They were gonna make a remake of Coach, right?
Yes, they were going to remake Coach.
And that fell through somehow.
Yes, gloriously. But the
For the
Full House
better.
sequel we still got.
He
We still
probably
got Full
fell
House.
through. He's probably under contract to make like 3 Incredibles movies.
Thank God. Too bad the Full House cast didn't have anything better to do, so we had to endure that nonsense.
I mean, other than Toy Story, The Incredibles definitely is my favorite Pixar movie. So, yeah, I would definitely love to see more of those. All right, so since we all had Finding Dory at 3, let's move on to our number 2. Daniel, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Spider-Man 5: Civil War at $480 million.
So Captain America 3, Civil War.
Nobody gives a shit about Captain America. It's all about Spider-Man. You saw Spider-Man in that trailer. Everybody wants to see Spider-Man. Nobody cares about dumb, Captain America. Everybody wants to see Spider-Man.
I hope people aren't going to see this movie just to see Spider-Man because I don't think that he's going to make a huge...
Yeah, he's literally probably in the movie for like 60 seconds.
Yeah. What was the amount that you had on?
40.
480. Okay. I also have Captain America at number 2 on my list, and I have it at 470 million. So, again, we're pretty close on this one.
This is where I've got X-Men Apocalypse.
All right.
And I'm jumping way up, money-wise, from Finding Dory. I'm jumping way up, almost $100 million, to $340 million.
I would just like to take a second to point out the fact that Conrad's just wrong. You're just wrong, Conrad. You're wrong and you're terrible. You're a terrible person.
Well, I did notice that I'm predicting for this movie to make more money than Brian predicted it to make.
Yes, you are. But I also have it lower on my list. So.
Yes, you do. So I'm no longer lowballing it.
Now, of course,
I mean, you're lowballing it. You're within the range. You're within 30 million of what Daniel put it at. So.
Now, this movie has, of course, lots of screen time for not only Captain America and his sidekicks and his sort of love interest in the blonde girl from the previous movie, but obviously it's got a bunch of Iron Man in it.
Yes.
There's a whole lot of Iron Man in this movie.
That's very bankable.
And people like Iron Man still, even though the first movie was really good, and after that it was like...
The third one wasn't terrible.
Yeah, it was.
This is really the third Avengers movie more than anything.
It's definitely the prequel to the Avengers two-parter where they fight Thanos for the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
It'll
be interesting to see what the Avengers team looks like, because they have the core Avengers, but at the end of the last Avengers movie, they kind of switched it up a little bit, or at least they led you to think that they were switching it up. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes with this movie, and then what the team is like. If they actually are gonna have that same team in the next Avengers movie actually be the team, and not have Thor, not have Thor, not have Hulk, not have basically everybody except for Captain America and Natasha Romanoff.
Well, I think I haven't seen Age of Ultron still, but I know
Spoiler.
that
I'm sorry, I spoiled it for you.
No, it's fine. I don't care. But I do know that I would imagine every single hero that has appeared in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, going all the way back to the 2008 Iron Man movie, will make an appearance in the two-part Avengers.
Oh, probably. At least some cameo, if not some bigger part, I'm sure. It's a
And
two-parter.
because
There's a
if
reason
you've
it's-
ever read the comic book that it's going to be based off of, you would know that it basically used the entire Marvel universe. So
Yeah. Okay, so we've got our number 2s. So let's go to number 1. I think both Daniel and I have the same number 1, so I'll go ahead and say it. I've got Batman vs. Superman at my number 1 at $530 million.
Conrad?
Well, I've got Captain America Civil War, which you guys just finished talking about because you know way more about it than I do. I think while you were talking, I somewhat lost consciousness and began to wander in a desert dreamscape.
Oh.
But
All right.
yeah, it's my number 1 and 360 million.
360 million. Wow.
My number 1 is The Huntsman, Winter's War. No. Jesus Christ, I can't believe they made that movie. No, it's Batman vs. Superman, because, I mean, duh. It's Batman vs. Superman. There's going to be Wonder Woman, and then, like, we're going to get Green Lantern, and I was mocking comic book fans with my Spider-Man diatribe about the Civil War movie, but I am totally on board with all of the DC characters coming together in Justice League. I want to see that. Even if it's bad, I want to see it, which is...
You know, it's really weird because I watch both the Flash TV show and the Green Arrow TV show, so it's kind of weird that they are doing those shows while they're going to have separate people playing the characters in the movies. I mean, I understand why they're not using the same actors because they're television actors for a reason, but I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Well, then they're just two entirely different universes. I mean, I believe there was even talk. Obviously, Flash was on the Supergirl show.
Yeah.
And I believe there was even talk of having Tom Welling return as Superman for the Supergirl show.
Really? I don't watch that one.
I think I have never seen it, but I believe there's a TV DC universe, and there's a cartoon DC universe, and there's going to be a movie DC universe, and I'm fine with that.
That's interesting, because Marvel does it the exact opposite, where everything is connected. Their TV shows are connected to the movies, somewhat.
Yeah, but it's so loosely connected.
I mean, they don't have like Thor. I mean, Thor has shown up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. once, but it was a very small cameo. But they don't have a lot of the big characters show up on the TV shows.
Well, I mean, I've watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and but I mean, it's so minor league. It's like they might as well not even be connected to the movies because who cares? It's such a small connection.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of ways, a lot of the TV shows, like Daredevil on Netflix, is just as good as the movies that come out. So, of course, that's Netflix.
I have not seen that yet. Of course, that's obviously not connected to the larger Marvel universe.
It is.
Really?
Yeah. They talk about in the first season. They talk about the disaster in New York and all that kind of stuff. And
oh wow.
Yeah, I think they're going to sort of do more of that, where it just kind of plays in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's a loose tie-in.
But I had $520 million on the Batman Superman.
$520. So again, $10 million. We're $10 million off, but this time I'm a little bit higher than you. All right, so that's going to do it now for our latest edition for the Exchange podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard, go ahead and like our video. Subscribe to our little feed that we've got going here. I think next time we're going to do something a little bit different. We're probably going to talk about the baseball season. So if you like baseball, you should be sure to check in for that one.
Oh, I am very excited about that one.
Oh, and it was Castlevania Symphony of the Night, by the way, which you should all play at some point.
Okay.
What's the platform on that one?
It's a Metroidvania. Oh, it's a PlayStation 1 Metroidvania game.
All right. Okay, so all right, that's going to do it for us. We'll see you next time.
Bye.